Hey guys, this is OddOneGaming. This is going to be another Dragonheir Selling Gods video. In today's video, there have been some changes of plans regarding the piece of Treasury and specifically regarding the piece of gear that I decided to forge. Now, I made a video previously saying that the Enlightenment chest is the best choice with the deck percent from my point of view. However, there are a few things that, I kind of realized by playing this season and thinking about the next season that made me think and made me decide to change the choice of this piece of gear. It's not going to be this one, but a different one. So I guess let's get into this one. So the reality is, for the sake of trying to get the most unique piece of gear, the hardest one to obtain, which would be something for derivative damage, would be, yes, to go the Enlightenment chest with penta attack percent. I think that's what you call when it's 5 times roll. But the reality is, I kind of looked at the damage, the teams, and everything that's happening in, for example, the Continental Challenges, right? If you look at this, you're going to see this one doesn't really need derivative damage. Irzilla's boss doesn't really need derivative damage. Then Tower boss, yes, it's all about the Thunderbolt team. But the reality is, and something that's kind of like blew my mind, I didn't think, and kind of looking at some other teams made me realize that getting the death record piece of gear for a specific team like Thunderbolt doesn't really make sense. The only reason why this one would be 100% needed on your main damage dealer is if you're maybe doing a Flora team, right? Maybe with the Flora team, but even like that, you know what? If you have somebody else that wears it just to enable her, it can work. However, actually, no, for Flora, you need it. But Flora's kind of like the only one that specifically needs death record in order to do her maximum possible damage. The reason is, the way that this one reads, it says, when the wearer deals derivative damage, marks the target to increase the derivative damage taken by 20% for 12 seconds. Well, if you have this on any other hero in your team, I'm not talking about Flora now, let's say a Thunderbolt team. If you have this on somebody else that does derivative damage, like, I don't know, Nissa, Shanakton, if we're talking about Thunderbolt, if we're talking about Poison team, any other Poisoner, if they have this before the main damage dealer goes, it's fine. You don't have to have it on your main damage dealer, which means this one's not going to be as needed for, as a top priority for damage. It's only Flora, right? There's just one specific use where it would be mandatory to have it on the specific hero. Apart from that, you can have another side piece on anybody else. So let's continue with this. We're talking about Oster. Again, Poison could work, but you need all the best ones, for example. But you're gonna see, by the time this video is out, I already showed you there's a wild team that I used against this and did over 200 million. So you're not mandatory needing derivative damage. Then Chief Challenger is going to be mostly rally, and then Grishnar is going to be obviously not derivative damage. So for this one, straight up, you don't need derivative damage. Now, if you think about the endgame boss, if they didn't change it, the boss kind of has like 6 mechanical balls that it summons, and you have to do damage to those. Well, most of the derivative damage that happens is like, yeah, through poison, but it's going to be some other stats that you're going to use. You're not going to mandatory need that. So, lots of reasons from that. But the main thing, right, the number one reason why I kind of changed my mind is I realized Season 3 is coming. And guess what we get in Season 3? Let me see if I can see over here in Inheritance. There we go. Claim Preview Season 3. Guess who comes back in Season 3? It's Rook. So from Season 3, Rook is going to be the number one damage dealer for honestly and everything, especially Vortex, but even for any other areas. The damage that he can bring is just going to be insane. Unless they completely nerfed him, which I don't believe they did, because people spent a ton of money to get awakenings to get inspirations and exclusives for him. He's going to be the main priority. He's going to be the number one that you need. So because of that reason, I'm going to change this. Let me just reset the forge, reset everything, give all my materials back, and let me show you the option that I am debating. So 100% is going to be a glove or a chest plate. Now, the main one, the first one that I'm thinking, also keep in mind, let me show you because this is really important. If you go over here to the Clipsided Trial, click down over here, Boundless Chest, and then you're going to see behind me over there, next season preview. If you click that, it's going to show you what disappears in Season 3. No more Chaos Symbiosis, no more Fearless Challenge, no more Mark of Austerity. So these 3 are gone, right? So definitely don't forge any of these 3 because you definitely want to have this piece of gear taken to the next season. But it's not only this. One other thing that maybe you did not realize, but I guess let me just show you to try and test, is if you took a piece of gear from season 1, for example this, you cannot take it again, right? You already inherited from season 1 to season 2. You cannot take it from season 2 to season 3. However, you would still not inherit the previous pieces because we have Mythic Plus this season, right? So we have Mythic Plus. Obviously, we're going to try and take those pieces with us in the next one. But let me show you the choices, and I think maybe this is going to be the one that I'm going to lock. Actually, let me start with the one that I was debating. So it could be Chestplate in the Imposing Presence, because, right, Imposing Presence is the only one that's going to be important that comes next season, apart from like Strike the Unprepared. So either Strike the Unprepared or Imposing Presence, but I think Imposing Presence could be an option. You'd go with attack percent, and then substats you go crit rate, crit damage, flat attack, and maybe defense percent. And then when it comes to substats, I would personally say just go all out on crit rate. So it makes it easier for you to get to 100% crit rate with the other stuff, and then give Rook as much crit damage as possible. So this is one option, right? This one, or you can go with, I think this is going to be the one that I'm going to lock in, Strike the Unprepared Glove, then main stat, crit damage, and then substats, crit rate, attack percent, flat attack, and then defense percent. But obviously defense percent doesn't have to be this. It's defense percent, HP percent, whichever one you think you want. I'm just going with defense percent because it's usually better, especially for Vortex, because it's a single target hit and, you know, soaks up some of the damage, more damage mitigation. This is what I would go, and I think 100%, I'm just going to go with as much crit rate as possible, right? Because the reality is getting to that 100% crit rate is going to be so much easier. You can get between 16.2, if I can just get my, wait, which hand? Okay. You know what, let me move myself out of the way, there we go. Between 16.2 and 19.8, but you can, you know what, let me just straight lock it in so I show you exactly how I do it, because you know what, this is definitely going to be the best option. The more crit damage, the better. So I'm going to lock this one. I'm going to force this piece of gear, and then you still can use the gold Meltium to improve the stats, right? So for example, this one can go, it's already 19%, right? But you can select to smelt secondary attributes by using gold Meltium. So smelt secondary attribute, obviously I'm going to try and push this to as high as possible. It tried to go back. Let's see, can I go higher? I want to try, obviously, get 20 something. As higher, you got 60 rolls, so you can keep trying up until you get 20.7. I'm not sure what the max one is. 24 is already looking amazing. Maybe 26 is the max. I'm just, for the sake of the video, I'm just gonna push this to the max, right? I want to see if I can get this all the way at the top and see what's the max amount of crit rate that we can get. Now, ideally, you wouldn't do this, right? Ideally, after you get like something like this, you try and push some of the attack percent, some of the flat attack, but I just want to see again, for the sake of the video, what's the max crit rate that we can get? I feel like it's gonna be 28 or something like that. Just kind of seems like it doesn't want to push. Maybe next time I get it, I hold it. Come on. Get me a little bit higher. I feel like just the way looking at the bar, what it can go, I feel like I said, 28 is going to be the max. It seems like it just doesn't want to go over 26.5. Come on. Hit me a bit higher. Just one more higher and we're good. Even if it goes to like 27, I'll keep it. It just seems that, you know what? It does use a lot of this, right? It does use a lot of it because, like I mentioned, you know, it's hard. You're right. You're just trying to push to get the maximum possible. But even getting 26.5, right? 26 crit rate extra from a crit damage piece that's going to have a ton of crit damage is going to be amazing. I might just have to stop because it doesn't want, but you know what? I'm using all of it just to see what's going to be the maximum possible stat that I can get. Come on. Get me to the max. It doesn't seem like it wants to go higher. Maybe just 26.5 is the max, and I'm trying for nothing. Let me know in the comments down below if you did this exact piece. Let me know what's the maximum crit rate substat roll that you can get. But even this, like I said, even 26 seems like it's gonna be the way. It might just be that 26.5 is the max, because it doesn't seem to want to go higher. Not sure if it can go higher, but you know what? This is it, right? Even like this, getting 26.5 crit rate on this piece of gear, right? This is gonna be mind-blowing. It would be insane. It would make most of your fights, even in this season, so much better. Imagine putting this on somebody like Ibildel even, right? Which she benefits from having a ton of crit rate mostly, but can give her a ton of crit damage from this, and a ton of crit rate is just gonna be amazing. So from my point of view, I think this is gonna be the right option. Again, it depends on your account. Depends what heroes you have, depends what type of damage dealers you have. That's, you know, it depends on all the accounts. But for my account, considering the fact that I have a decent rally teams, I have Ice Blast, then I already have Rook, and I'm going to go for more Rook. I have Ozul, which is going to benefit from this as well. because you know Ozulin's an amazing damage dealer. I feel like this is gonna be the #1 choice. Either this or an attack percent chest with, you know, crit rate maxed and then crit damage or sub rolls, flat attack, and then defense percent. But which piece are you guys forging? Let me know in the comments down below because I'm really curious. But I guess we're gonna leave it at this for now. Thank you for watching. As always, if you do enjoy my content, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel to see when I upload next, and I'm gonna see you on the next one. Peace, love, take care, run. Bye, guys.